So that's the first one, audience. Second one is touch point. So here are ways for you to think through the touch points. So what channels are the consumers currently using? So if you're selling a product, let's say Converse shoes. Let's say you're selling Converse shoes to teenagers. A lot of what you're doing as designers is you're, in some ways, reverse engineering, right? So you're saying, okay, I want to sell more shoes. Converse, all right, who are the consumers of Converse? Where do they spend their time? Now, that's exactly the way you should be thinking through your campaign ideas, okay? Think about where people spend their time. That was good. Okay, second one, is the mode of user behavior different at each channel? I mean, the point I'm making here on user mode is, now, for the most part, when you're on Facebook, you're probably in a pretty relaxed mode. It's more entertainment than it is work, right? When you're sitting in front of your computer. When you're reading email, it might be a little bit different because you might be sifting through hundreds of other emails, in which case, it might not catch your attention. Now, the thing about Facebook is you can have friends who like something, which will then have an impact on what you see, potentially, right, on your news feed. So I think it's important to think about what modes users are in. Are you in a concentration mode, when you're sitting in front of a computer at your laptop, or if you're playing with an iPad, you might be doing something a little bit more fun. And for the most part, you might even be sitting down with someone else next to you, kind of looking at an iPad together, right? So think about the mode that you're in. Are you deliberating? Are you considering? Are you having fun? Okay. The third point there is, are there patterns in the journey where there are specific channel pairs? And I say channel pairs because I think it's the easiest place to start, right? So if you think of a pairing of channels, like what would that pairing look like? Let me give you an example. So I shop a lot at J.Crew. So one of the things that I do sometimes is I go to the store to actually look at the product, look at the fabric, look at the cut, and then I buy it online because they don't have a size in the store for me, or they don't have the color. But for me, that's an example of an opportunity, right? You're physically in the store, and then you're kind of taking off what, once you figured out that's what you want, you buy it online. Another channel pair is when you call a 1-800 or customer service line, and you usually do that when you can't get anywhere on the online channel, right? That's like, okay, crap, I need help, I need to call someone. So think about where your channel pairs are, and particularly for the assignment that I've set you guys, think about what some logical channel pairs might be. Now, just because I'm in the store doesn't mean that that was my first point of contact with the brand. Now, there are ways that you can build an experience so that you provide a customer with something interesting and fun even before they get to the store. Or when you're at the store, you use RFID or any location-based device to help you maybe find something in the store. Okay? So these are just little peeks into what you could do, but a good place to start is channel pairs. That makes sense. Now, are there tasks that are commonly performed across a large percentage of your consumers? That tends to be a good place to start, right? So if there are 10 things that you can design your campaign to do, what are the 2 things? You want to make sure that those 2 things are the things that resonate the most with what people want to do, okay? Now, this is an important one. How are you documenting the consumer's journey? Because if you don't put it down and you don't articulate that in some shape or form, you're not going to be able to, kind of explain to your client in future, like, why are you doing this? Why are you designing this at this point? What's the next thing you expect them to do? And what was the thing that they came off of the step before? Now, there are many methods that you can use, and I'm going to show you one example on the next page. But in the user experience world, there are certain tools that we use. You can do task flows. It sounds difficult, but it's not. All it is, it's boxes and arrows that denote what the user is doing at each point. If there is a decision, if there is a pain point, you flag it with different shapes. You can also do it as a narrative, and I think that you guys are probably more equipped than folks from a human-computer interaction background to actually create a story around the customer's journey. Another way I've seen it done is hand sketches of storyboards, very much like the storyboard of a movie, where you kind of tell play by play, frame by frame, what the customer is doing during the journey. And then the last one, which I mentioned before, think about unique opportunities that are offered by each channel. So the same idea may not be executed the same way across all your different channels. You have to use what's right. Okay? So the next page is just an example. And this is one example of how you create or articulate someone's journey. So this person says, what kind of IRA makes sense for me? Right? That's a retirement account. How much should I put in? And then this person gets to third-party sites and company recommendations. And then this person does his or her homework and visits the different competitor sites to find out about their products. Notice the pain points, feeling overwhelmed, trying to understand offerings is difficult, open to and seeking guidance that connects with her. So this kind of gives you a sense of also the channel crossover point. So this person comes out of the competitor sites, creates a short list, reviews it with her financial planner, meets with a short list of companies, choose company, and select the fund. So this is probably more complex than it really needs to be, but it does articulate what is going through this consumer's mind as she's trying to figure out which fund do I invest in. So when you think about your campaigns, think about where on this journey you are able to make the most impact to this consumer. Maybe this might be where you do it, because this person feels compelled to visit all the competitor sites to kind of figure out what the right account is to buy, what the right fund is. That could be your opportunity to put together a campaign idea that acknowledges the sense of the consumer being overwhelmed, and maybe emphasize the message of simplicity and why your customer needs to trust you as the particular provider of that service. So that's just kind of one example. But if you map it out, you can make very good decisions or calculated decisions about where you want to hit home. Okay?